Okay, we're going to be learning as a schus for Shleimo for Ilana Chaya Bas Serach. We're on Daf Chav Zayin Amid Beis. 2 lines from the bottom. Amar Abba Baba Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Kol makas b'chal moles haShabbos ein misrapa mehen. Any makkah that is serious enough, it means we're going with one of the pshatim that we had before, that we said that something that is life-threatening is he's arguing on what we said before, that you can not use a ovid kechavim reifa even for the smallest thing. He says no, if it's only something that's very serious, that the person's life is in danger, a misrapim hen. On that you can't use a ovid kechavim because there's too much. It's too much chance that they'll kill you, but something that's small you can use them. Any makkah, any internal makkah, anything that's infecting the person's internal functioning, you can't use them, which is a very similar concept. Something that is internal is always life-threatening. What's the difference between them? It can be no gava yad v'gava regel. Something that's on the back of the hand or the back of the foot. These are things that are considered to be life-threatening, even though they're not internal. So according to the first shot, we said that Mechal Shabbos, so it include these. But according to the second shot, it only means those things that are internal, but anything that's external. Even the Mechal Shabbos on it, but I guess the idea is that a Reifa will not have access. There's nothing you can do really that would threaten your life further. He might not heal it, but it's all on the surface, so he's not going to have a chance to hurt you. Amar v'zut shebatovi amarav kol makkah shetricha oimid mechal les haShabbos. Any makkah that needs to be determined whether it's going to be life-threatening, you can be mechal Shabbos on it. Which the Mefarshim explain, obviously, Pikuach Nefashos is Doicha Shabbos. No one disagrees with that. So what's the Chiddush of this? And I think that they say that the Chiddush is that even if a person who's not a Hatzalah member, he's just a regular person, and he's concerned that it might be dangerous. If anyone has any chashash of Pikuach Nefashos, Yimachal Shabbos. We're on Daf Chav Ches Amid Beis, about 8 lines down. Amr Shama bar Abba Amr Rav Yochanan. V'hai ishta tzemirta, this hot fever that a person gets, kamaka shel chelul dami. It's even though you feel the fever on the outside, but it's considered to be an internal affliction, which is always has some danger to the person's life. What is considered? At what point is considered to be an internal sickness, and what point is considered external? Pirush Rav Ami min hashaf ulufnim, anything from the lips and inward, meaning it doesn't mean that it has to be from the throat. One might think internal means from the throat down is internal. He says no, from the lips and inside. Boy Rebbe Eliezer, kache v'shinima. How about the gums and the teeth? Although some pshatim say the kachi v'shini is the molars and the incisors, but so what about the teeth generally? Kivin da kaishininu kamaka debaraidamu. Do we say since they're not soft, so they're not hooked up to the internal systems, the digestive system, so they're considered to be outside, meaning the lips, from the lips and inside, it means the rest, the cheeks and the tongue. So those are soft and part of the body, but maybe the teeth are considered the outside. Or maybe since they're inside the mouth, they're considered to be internal. Amar Abaye, Tashmal, bring your right. One who has a toothache on Shabbos, he shouldn't rinse out his mouth with vinegar, because it's as we know, you're not allowed to do a refu on Shabbos. We're chayshish that maybe he'll come to mesachik samamonim, he'll crush samamonim, So Chum guys are not to use medicines. It's only if he has a chayshish, the typical taich translation of chayshish is he has a slight pain, he's discomfort. Hakavle tuva shaperdami. But if he has a real pain, then he could even use the challah. We're not geyser because there's a sakonit. So the chayr it's a raya that the teeth are part of an internal affliction. So no, he says maybe when it says chayshish, it means a real pain, and even so, he's not allowed to use vinegar. You can't rinse out with vinegar. Tashma, b'tzapadina. He had a tooth problem, toothache. He went to this woman, this non-Jewish woman. Of the Chamisha Umali Shabasa. She made for him a remedy. She made a medicine for him on Thursday and on Friday. Amalei lamachamai. So he said to her, "But what's going to be tomorrow? Tomorrow I can't come to you to get the medicine. It's Shabbos." Amalei leitzarichas. She said to him, "You're not going to need it. It's going to be better tomorrow." V'itzarichna mai. He said, "But what happens if I need it?" He was worried he had to be ready to be able to say his shir. Amr ishtabali deloy megalis. She said, "If you know what, since you can't come to me to get the medicine on Shabbos, I'll give you the remedy and I'll tell you what to do, but you have to make a shvua that you're not going to tell anyone. I make my living by providing this medicine." Ishtabala, he made a shvua to her, Le'elaka Yisrael loy maglina. To those exact words, to the God of the Jews, loy maglina. I'm not going to reveal it. Loy maglina galia. Lay. Lamacha, the next day, Nafik Darsha B'Pirka. The next day he went out by the shir, he told everyone what the remedy was. But what about his shvur that he made? How could he violate his shvur? So since he phrased it in a way, he was able to interpret it that what he swore was he's not going to reveal it to the Rebbeinu Shalom, but to his nation, to the Klal Yisrael, he is allowed to reveal it. This would occur to all of us, right? You can come up with your little clever ways out of your shvua, but this matronisa is certainly not going to feel well about a Jew who makes a full shvua. So the gully law meikara. It says he's talking about he went to her. He said that this shvua was not a valid shvua for the reasons that I said. So when he said it, she never thought that she accepted his explanation of why it wasn't a valid shvua. But in any case, we see from all of this that he was allowed to do it on Shabbos. Vaistais, that kapadnia is which is a toothache, is an internal affliction that is, you could be Michal Shabbos. It's a specific kind of tooth affliction that progresses to affects a person's digestive system, so it is a makas chel. My simna, how do you know that that person has this affliction? When you put something on his teeth and blood comes out of his gums. Mimai havi, where does it come from? What causes it? Mekriri kiri dechiti, mechamimi desari, if he eats cold wheat or hot barley, or mishuri kosa deharsana, if you eat expired fried fish, you leave fish out and you eat it, old spoiled fish, it causes this tooth affliction. My avdale, what do you do about it? Mesa or v'shemen zayis umelech. You take barley water and olive oil and salt, and you mix them together and you put it on it. Umar Baravashi Amar Mishcha de avza, begadfa de avza. You apply goose fat oil with a goose feather. Amar Abaya, Ano avdi kulav lo yistai. All these things did not help my tapadina. Ad amli ahu taya, until I spoke to a certain merchant, a non-Jewish itinerant merchant. I see kashyitzia dezaisa. You bring olive pits, the leimalu tilsa, that are not of a third of their growth, the kolnohu, and you should burn it up. Amara chadata, on a brand new shovel. Vidavik. Vidavik bei the dari. And you apply it to the teeth, and that will cure it. Avdi hachi vistai. And I did it and it worked. Rav Yochanan hechi avid hachi. Fact the Gemara, how could Rav Yochanan, in our original story, how could he use the services of this non-Jewish woman? You're not allowed to use a non-Jewish person because we're worried about that they're going to make you sick. They're gonna it's a pikuach nefashos.
But didn't we say if it's an internal thing?
He
Oh,
said
if it's
the other way.
internal, then you
Literally,
can't.
because that's sakanas nefashos.
Oh,
Gives them an opportunity to kill a Jew. And but the Gemara Adam Chashav shiny. An Adam Chashav, when the Rebbe comes in with all his guys, and if all of a sudden he has an accident, they know that they're going to be calling the Governor Hochul, and getting him arrested. So Adam Chashav, the people have their eyes on it. Adam Chashav was Adam Chashav. V'ramalei Yaakov Mino Sama Ashake. Yaakov, who is a min, which is included in the people that you're not allowed to get a refuah from, he put a medicine on his leg when he had a problem with his leg. Had they not immediately realized that this was a danger and licked off the medicine, his leg would have had to been amputated from the effects of that medicine. So, how come, even though Rabbi Avo was a Adam Chashav, this min was not afraid, and he did do a bad medicine at him. That the Rabbi Yochanan Reifa Mumcha Hava. In addition to being an Adam Chashav, was also Reifa Mumcha, so he had a lot at stake. In fact, the mother of Nami Reifa Mumcha Hava. This Yaakov Mino was also a famous doctor. The min was willing to take the hit as long as he could get to Rabbi Avo. Thomas Nafshi, he was Mekayim himself, Thomas Nafshi and Plishtim. This Reifa Min, this Yaakov Mino, was willing to go down with the ship. Rabbi Avo was a steadfast opponent of the Minim. He used to always argue with them. So he was willing to take the hit, and he said, I'm going to be like Shimshon. I'm going to go down with, he said, I'm going to die with the Plishtim. He said, I'll die with Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Avo. As long as I get him, it's worth it. Amar Shmuel. Hi Padasa. This Padasa, Rashi says, is a cut from a sword, but it means any cut that comes from metal. Sakantahi, it's sakana, it's could cause tetanus. Machal nalesa Shabbos, you machal Shabbos in it. Maisu, so what do you take to do about? Lemifsik dama, first of all, to stop the flow of blood. Tachli bechala, you take cress in vinegar. That stops. You put that on the wound, and that stops it. Lasuke girda, in order to heal the wound, to heal it, divla the girda the asna. You take divla, which is a kind of girda divla the girda the asna. You take divla the yavla, which is a kind of plant. The girda the asna, which is a sneh, which is a bush, a rose bush, and you put it on it. Oy nikra mikil kalta, or you take what's left over from the garbage. So Rashi says, "Teloyim shahatarnagolim menakrim ba'ashma me'aspis yoram evyon." You take basically garbage. So what I thought when I heard about this, I immediately thought, you got some bread in the garbage and it's gotten rotten, it spoiled, and you take what the mold that grew on it. So it's basically penicillin. Yeah, maybe it works. Amr of Safra.
Rashi says it's
Right?
the
I'm just
worm.
reading the Rashi. Nikra mikalasa teloyim shatarana menakram ba'ashba, like the the worms that the chickens get from the in the garbage. I guess the worms is not the bread. I don't know. I was just trying to come up with something that makes sense. Amr of Safra. Hi in Vasa. And Vasa is a kind of like grape-shaped sore. Parvanka de Malcha de Mosa. It's the harbinger of the angel of death. Mayasus. So what's the remedy? Tigna bedufsha. You take tigna, which is a kind of plant with in honey. Ay karpasa betaila, or karpas, whatever karpas is. You can go whatever you do by the seder. That's what karpas is. Betaila. You mix it with wine. Adavahachi vahachi. But while you're getting this ready, laisa in vasa basmina. You take, if it's like we're gonna see, you take a grape that's similar to it in size, the nigdar iluya, and you rub it on it. If it's a white sore, then you do a white grape, a green grape. If it's a black sore, then you do a purple grape. Amarab, high symptom. This is another kind of blister. Parvanka da ashosi. It portends that a person's going to get a fever. Mayasu. So what's the cure? Lamachia, to cure it. Shishin is ketuli. Lamachia shishin is ketuli. Should hit it with 60 snaps of the finger. You should flick your finger at it 60 times. V'lekraya shasi barav, and then cut it back and forth, meaning like in a cross-shaped manner. And then you let out the blister. You drain the blister. V'hani mili deloy chiyuresha. That's only as long as the blister is red but not white. Aval chiyuresha. Once the blister gets white, less lamba. It's not necessary to do all this to drain it because it's going to open on its own. It's going to cure itself on its own. Rabbi Yaakov chosh bepika. Rabbi Yaakov got sick with basically hemorrhoids. Either Rav Ami or Rav Asi told him, Lacey shov beini ahala, take 7 stems of aloe, tulna, red aloe, b'tzayirle b'chalolot debeit savara, and use a shmata that you make by cutting out the neck hole in a shirt, and the lichach and you put it in it. The lichach near a barka, you take the hair of a wild animal, the tamishla benatva chiyura, and you soak it in white naphtha, which I never know what naphtha is, but I think it's the stuff that you smell. They used to put to keep away moths in the closet. I think that was mothballs with me.
It's flammable.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I know it's flammable. I know it smells bad. I don't know where it comes from. But fortunately, it's the same word in the Gemara as it is in English. But more than that, I don't know. It's just the stuff. I don't know if it's man or beast, vegetable or mineral. Anyway. So you take it v'likle and you burn it up, luya, and you smear it on it. Adahachi v'hachi. While you're doing this, um, while you're waiting for this to be ready, laisha kashyasa da asan leila pika lahadi pika. You take the seeds from these snez, these rose bushes, and you slit them open, and you take what comes out when you slit the fruit open, and you put it on the hemorrhoid. Mahani pika yiluya. That's an external. Pikatata. If it's an internal hemorrhoid, what do you do? Laisi tarba the tzafirta dole eftach. You take the fat of a goat that was not it was never gave birth, the lifsher, and you melt it, the lishtibe, and you put it on it. Beloy laisi tlas tarfa kara the miyavshi betula. Did you prepare this, Lizzie? I
Yeah,
waiting
but
for you to.
if you need any assistance, you're doing great. I can help you. I'll
Let me
try.
I'll just finish. I'm just going to finish this up and then let you take over because I'm running out of steam here. Beloy lysi tlas tarfa kera. You take three gourds, three we usually squash plants, the miyavshi that were dried out, betula in the shade, the likli, and you burn it up, live the iluya, and you put it on it. V'iloi, and if not, if you don't have that, laisi mishkadei chalzoni, you take the shell of the chilazon. Chilazon is a kind of shellfish. V'iloi, maisi meshach kira, you should take the oil. Rashi says oil that's mixed with shava, with wax. The linket beshichki the kisna. You put it on pieces of flax. The kaita during the summer. Uda ama gufna, and with I guess cotton seed, or pieces of cotton besivasa in the winter. Okay, I'll leave over to you the ears. You're in
Oh,
charge of the ears.
right.
It's a
Rabbi,
shame that Menachem is not here.
yes, I was thinking the same thing. Rabbi Avoda chushpa udnei. Rabbi Avoda had an earache. Oile Rabbi Yechanan. So either Rabbi Yechanan taught him, v'amalei be midrasha, or he was taught this in the base medrash. My Arele, what did they teach him to do for the earache? Ki had Amar Abaya, like Abaya said, Amrule aim. My mother told me, who we had learned earlier, that Abaya's mother had died, and it was his nurse that he called mother. Le Ibre Kulyasa Ella Laudna. The kidneys were not created only for to help for an earache. But Amar Rabba, and Rabba explained this. Amrli min yume Asya. Min yume, the doctor told me, kulo shakune, all liquids, kashul udna, is dangerous for the ear. Levar mimaya de kulyasa, except for the liquid of a kidney. So what do? Laise kulyasa devarcha karcha. You bring the kidney of a goat that doesn't have hair. I think Rashi said that it's because goats don't have wool like sheep. The likrayu shesiva erev, and cut it both ways. The linach amilala demura, put the kidney on coals that are hot. The hanu maya, the nafkamine, and the water that comes out of the kidney, lishtenuhu beudne. You should pour it into your ear. Like kurire, the water shouldn't be, this liquid that comes out of the kidney should not be cold. Velo chamim, it shouldn't be hot. Ela peshure, it should be lukewarm. V'ilai, and if you can't, either you can't get the kidney or it doesn't work. Laisi tarba dechupushta gamlanisa. You should bring the fat of a large type of beetle. Velifshur, and melt it, velishtibe, and pour it into your ear. V'ilai, and if this doesn't work, lemilaihu leudne mishcha, he should fill his ear with oil. V'li'eved shav pesilta de aspasta, and he should make 7 wicks of these wheat stalks that haven't matured yet. The lycee,
Rashi says it's wheat stalks because later on I'm going to say aspasta means something else. Normal aspasta is balsam. So I
both,
guess in this, I think it means like a kind of fodder. So it's a general term, and it could have different things that are used for it.
right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The lycee shufta the tumor, and you should bring dried garlic leaves. I think it's like the handle of the how you grab the leaf of the garlic plant. Velasiv barka b'chad reisha, he should tie one end of the seven each wick with animal hair. Velisli behu nura, and he should light the wick on fire. The idach reisha, and the other end of the wick, that's not on fire, musfa b'udne, he should put it into his ear. Velasiv udne lahada nura, he should put his ear next to the fire. The yizdar mezika, but he should be careful that the wind shouldn't go into his ear. V'nishkol chada, and as each he should take out each wick as it's done. V'nanach chada, and then put it with, and then replace it with the other one until he used all seven other wicks. Lishna achrina v'ilai lacey shav b'silta b'yikra. He should take 7 wicks of animal hair. V'shoyef le mishcha de aspasta. He should smear it with balsam oil, like this is the other aspasta.
Yeah.
V'neisi chad reisha benura, he should put one end of the wick on fire. V'chad reisha ba'udna, put the other end of the wick in his ear. V'nishkol chada, he should replace each one when it's done. V'nana chada, and then put in the next wick. V'yizdar mizika, and he should always be careful that wind should not go into his ear. The Eli, and if this doesn't work, Lacy Udra Dinada, he should take wool that was dyed a violet color. The low mashkif, that it wasn't combed out yet, it wasn't straightened the wool. The nanachbe, he should put that into his ear. The lislahu leudne lahadinura, he should put his ear next to the fire. The lizdar mizik, and he should be careful of the wind coming into his ear. The Eli, and if this doesn't work, Lacy Gufsa de Kanya, he should take a reed tube. Atika bar Meashnin, that's 100 years old. And Rashi says not that it's from a reed that's 100 years old, but something that was already cut 100 years ago. A reed that was cut 100 years ago, and that's the reed tube that he somehow found
He
or
said this
has.
is like if the other things you couldn't find, this is what everyone had lying around the 100 year
Right.
old tube.
Vilimlaihu milcha Gilal Nisa, he should fill up the reed tube with rock salt, Velikli, and he should burn it, Velidvuk, and he should smear that mixture onto his ear. So we had a bunch of different remedies here. The Gemara says, V'simanach retiva liyavishta, things that are wet are used for earaches that are dry. The yavishta l'retiva, and things that are dry are used for wet earaches. So Rashi explains that the ones, let's say the liquid of the kidney and the wax oil, which are wet, the liquidy, that should be used for a dry earache, and the reed tube and the rock salt, which are dry, that's what you should use for the if you have a I guess it's like a liquidy ear infection. Omar Rabba Bar Zutra, Omar Rabbi Chanina. Malin aznayim b'Shabbos. You can raise up the ear on Shabbos. So Rashi says that the gid of the ears, guess the sinews,
Yeah,
are
it's the jaw. I think it's. I actually got hit on my head with a paddle like a couple of weeks ago,
yeah.
like right here, right over my ear, and I couldn't open my jaw all the way.
Right, that's what Rashi says,
Connected.
that if
Yeah.
the ear gets lower down, it can dislocate the jaw, so
Yeah.
it can be dangerous. So Mal Naznayim b'Shabbos. Tani Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda. B'yad, the only way that you can raise up the ear is by doing it by hand. Sounds like a dislocated shoulder that you pop back into place. Avaloi b'sam, but not through medicine, because that might be that's a similar Ikeda Amri Basam, you can only do it by medicine, even though you're being, you can be, be over midrabanan on Shabbos, avaloi biyad, but not by using your hand. So my timer, what's the reason that we're telling you that you can be over midrabanan and not do it by hand? Mizrif zarif, because if you I guess, pop the ear back into place, you're definitely going to cause a chabura, and that's asur midaraisa. So I'm not really sure what the machlekes is, because it sounds like machlekes that's practical.
I mean, this is a pretty practical Gemara.
Like, does it happen or not? But I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's that. I think it's fair to say this kind of machlekes that they're arguing about which. I don't know if it's certain to do so,
Right.
but maybe they're arguing about which is more likely.
Which is more likely?
Yeah.
Omer Rav Zutra Batuvia Amarav Ayin Shamarda, an eye that is Rashi says Ayin Shamarda Shiratza Lotze, so wants to pop out. Kadam Hamayrid Viyotze, like a person who's looking to rebel and run away. Mutter L'Koichala b'Shabbos, you're allowed to put medicine on it on Shabbos. Tzavamine, Hanimili hu desachike samana me'etmal. This is when you already had prepared, you already grinded the herbs for the medicine before Shabbos. Aval mischak b'Shabbos, but if you have to grind it, you have to be, I guess, over, on Shabbos. But asuya derech reshus rabim, or if you have to carry it on Shabbos, loi, then you're not allowed to do it, because it's not something that is sakanas nefashis. It's just that someone might lose their eyesight.
Yeah, Sakonis Aver, we are over on a Durabanan, not on a Deraisa.
Right. Amalei Hahumer Rabbanan, Yaakov Shmei, and Yaakov was his name. Liddi Mefarshim Yinei de Rabbi Huda. Rabbi Huda himself explained it to me. Afila mischach b'Shabbos ve'asuye derech shesarabim. Even if you're going to actually grind it or carry on Shabbos, mutter, it's mutter. And the Gemara will explain in a little bit why that is. Rav Yehuda shara lemichal ena b'Shabbos. Rav Yehuda allowed to put medicine on an eye on Shabbos. Amalahu Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda. Man sayis la Yehuda, whoever is going to listen to Yehuda, machal Shabbos will be machal Shabbos. L'seif chash b'enei. In the end, Rav Shmuel himself had an issue with his eye. Shalach lei, so he sent to Rav Yehuda, shari ay aser. Is it mutter or is it aser? Shalach lei, so Rav Yehuda sent back to Rav Shmuel, Rav Shmuel. L'kula almei shari. For everyone else, you're allowed to put medication on the eye on Shabbos. L'didach aser, but for you it's aser. And Rashi says, where is that? She'ata asarta, because one is that you said it was asa, ve'arta al devarai, and you argued with my words. So I guess for you, then it would be asa. And Rabbi Yehuda continued. Right. And Rabbi Yehuda continues saying, did you think that it was coming from me, this, that I said it's mutter? The Marshmul, it was from Marshmul. Ahi Amsa, there was this maid, the Habe Bei Marshmul, who was in the house of Marshmul, the Kat Khala Ena B'Shapsa, whose eye became inflamed on Shabbos. Tzafcha, she was crying out, Beleka the Ashkachba, and no one took notice of her. Everyone said that it's fine, you're not allowed to be Machal Shabbos. We'll wait till after Shabbos to take care of it. Paka Enai, and ended up that her eye burst. L'macher, the next day, Nafik Marshmul V'darish, Marshmul went out and he darshened, Ayin Shamarda, an eye that is about to pop out, Mutter L'koichala b'Shabbos, it's mutter to put medication on Shabbos. My timer, what's the reason? Because, in other words, is it Sakanas Nefashis or not? Deshuryane de'ena, Avanta deliba toli. Because he said the eyesight is connected somehow to the heart. And basically, I guess if the eye goes bad, then it can cause some heart condition, which is life-threatening. Kikain mai, what kind of eye issues are we talking about that is mutter to put medication on Shabbos? Amar of Yehuda, Kigain Rira, if there's a lot of liquid coming out of the eye, titza, or there's a stabbing pain in the eye, dima, there's blood in the eye, dimasa, there's a lot of tearing of the eye, vikitka, or there's an inflammation of the eye. And that the caveat is utchilas ochla. You can only put medication on Shabbos when it's the beginning of the sickness. La'afuke soif ochla, but if once it's already the medication was put on and it's just about pain, then at that point already you're not allowed to put medication on it on Shabbos. I guess it's already on the way to healing. It won't be life-threatening. And at that point, just for the pain, we're not allowing you to be Mechalal Shabbos midrabanan. Ufitzuche ena delay, or to improve one's eyesight. In other words, it's not life-threatening. It's just about, I guess, a fear of damaging his eyesight. In that case as well, you're not allowed to put medication on Shabbos.
Shkoyach, I think we should let the Ellen go to davening.
All right.
Yes, sir. So just
Yeah.
one question. It's if the medication is already prepared before Shabbos, applying it is also Issa Deraisa?
It's not a deraisa, no. It's the Rabbanan. But that's what we said before. We had the Gemara question, wasn't sure whether we're talking about a case where the medicine had been prepared beforehand or not. Question was whether it was if everything is like in graduation. Certainly, if anything that pikuach nefashos, you could even over a deraisa.
Right.
Then, if you have something that's sakanas aver, or let's say I think we said a fever, I think we said that if it's prepared before Shabbos, then it's only a takanas chacham. You can do that even on Shabbos.